Hey everyone, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hello everyone. Sorry, it's confusing for me because I can't see myself right now, and for some reason my husband decided to do something as we're saying hello, so I can't see myself, and that's weird because now I'm just talking to nothing.
There.
There we go.
You see yourself.
But
We
I
got
have
a
to speak
missing
there.
monitor.
The whole
Anyways, everything's fine.
Welcome back after a long vacation holiday. I'm over it.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
it's
over
been like
it.
4 or 5 days of just like eating and hanging out and having fun and then going to bed and then waking up and eating.
I'm over. The only reason why I take off on that Friday is because we have a kid, and I figure that, okay, like I'll spend time with her and kind of, take advantage, right? But that's the only reason. If I didn't have a kid, I'd be working on Friday.
Yeah.
Straight up. And had a full day.
We literally just came from a Friendsgiving, literally like half hour ago.
It's been like Thanksgiving Thursday, Friday, more family Thanksgiving stuff, Saturday, more family Thanksgiving stuff. Then they leave. Then Sunday, Friendsgiving. If I can't take seeing another fucking pie, I've lost so much weight, and now I feel like the only thing helping me in the slightest bit right now is that I go on like crazy walks every single morning, and so I get some kind of movement and exercise. But like other than that, I'm like, oh God, I need to fast.
Fasting. Yep.
Back
to the fast.
I have to go back to fasting. Just for like a day, 2 days. I just need a reset.
I mean, don't you pretty much fast every day though? You do the intermittent fasting kind of, or
Yeah, I mean, so I
I
basically
don't know if you do.
every day
You don't.
I wake up, I make a smoothie, a plant protein Orgain smoothie with dates and bananas and protein powder and collagen. Then I have tea when I get to the office. Then at 12 o'clock, I'll have my first snack, which will be just like an RX bar. Then at 2 o'clock is my lunch, and I'll have like apples and peanut butter because I'm like obsessed with it right now. And then I eat dinner when I get home at 6:30.
So the answer is no, you don't fast intermittent fast. You should really just skip the smoothie in the morning and just bring it to work and then have it at like noon or something.
Yeah,
then you
I
do
know.
the intermittent fasting.
I know, I should. I feel like the smoothie gets me going though. It like kickstarts my day.
Yeah. The only reason I even eat anything or have a smoothie or anything in the morning is because I got to take my vitamin C pills, which require food, or you get nauseous.
And the smoothie makes you poop.
Me? Sometimes. It's more
like
been
it was
those
like
smooth moves lately.
I felt like it was a pooper for you.
It kind of sometimes kicks into gear, but it's really those like smooth move teas at nighttime.
Smooth move is the shit. I'm drinking that right now with some
But
lemon balm.
I think I'm like addicted to it though now. Now my stomach can't go without it.
I have to have smooth move every night. If I go one night without smooth move, I'm not shitting the next day.
Because you know what's in there, right? There's a mild laxative in that. It's
right.
Senna.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Senna.
Yeah, but then your intestine gets used to that
naturally,
and doesn't produce its own
poop.
Well, shitting trigger, whatever that is. Yep.
Interesting. How I'm going from that to Rosa Parks, I have no idea. But I just actually, but like I was on Instagram and I was just scrolling through, and I saw that today marks like 65 years or something from the day that Rosa Parks like refused to move her seat on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of scrolling and I read that really quick. And it really kind of like I really sat with that for a second because I feel like when I was in school and I learned about all that stuff, like again, I was just like this kid that like really wasn't caring about what I was learning or anything like that. And then like I graduated, life comes, I'm in living real world life. I'm never really having conversations about Rosa Parks. Like so as I'm scrolling, it comes up and I'm really like sitting here thinking about like, damn, the brave like the bravery and just the fucking like commitment and dedication and passion and just like the, the just realness and authenticity and just everything about her like I what she did like in all honesty like I'm not sure if I can ever like I don't know if I can ever do that. Like I don't know if I could see myself in a situation where what she did was so fucking badass, standing up, like and being like fuck you, I'm not, and basically going against how the whole world was, like and being like nope, I'll get arrested for this shit.
What do you think the equivalent to that is nowadays?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, and so as I try and think about my life, I'm like, have I stood up for something I believe that much to where I'm willing to get arrested?
Uh, well, I think nowadays, I think a similar equivalent, but it wasn't just like one person doing it, would be, maybe like the vaccine and like, some people that didn't take the vaccine and they like lost their jobs for it.
Oh, okay, yeah, 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 totally. I feel like that could be, I guess,
Something
right?
along those lines.
Something like that.
More of like a one person doing it.
Right, right, right.
I
And it would be on a
mean,
smaller scale, obviously, because it's like just that person's individual life. Rosa Parks set something off for the whole fucking world,
I
right?
mean, I know a lot of people won't. There's a lot of people that will agree and won't agree with what I'm about to say, but in the long run, I think
Am
we're
I
gonna.
scared? Am I scared?
I don't know, maybe
Shit.
in the long run, we're probably gonna look back and be like, "Wow, that may have been like a Rosa Parks moment." And I'm gonna say when Elon Musk
Oh God.
bought Twitter. Why is this such a sensitive subject?
I don't know. I just feel like
But think about what he did and what he revealed with the Twitter files. Like he didn't have to. He spent $46 billion on a company that was like going nowhere just so he could liberate free speech and then release the files and let everybody know that the FBI was and has been telling every social media platform and every network, commercial, whatever media outlet you can think of, what to say and do. This is what I'm saying. Right now, it's still like, oh, I don't know. But I'm telling you, in 5-10 years from now, we're going to look back and be like, that was the fucking moment that's changed everything.
yeah, I think what's hard for me is I can't separate the name, like there's Elon Musk and then there's Rosa Parks, and I guess for me it's just hearing those two names together in the same sentence don't make sense to me. My don't make sense to my brain.
Why?
Be, I feel like I don't know, it's like still like in my mind I'm like it's I guess it's hard for me to really see what you're talking about
It's
with
a, it's a,
Elon Musk because it's still happening right now, and not that racism or anything like that isn't still happening, but I mean for God's sakes we could sit on a fucking bus now, like, and so I just feel like now I'm able to really see obviously, right, like what fucking good that one person did for the world basically,
Hmm.
that it's hard for me to see it from that angle with like an Elon Musk example.
I don't even think with the Rosa Parks thing, that wasn't like something that was like an immediate
No, of course, no, 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 no,
thing
no, no,
that
no. Of
shifted
course
everything
not.
either. It was
But it's
just over
still, I mean,
time.
it was still like it was a pivotal moment. I mean,
Hmm.
huge. I feel like in that moment, every fucking black person was looking at her like, uh, Oh, hold up. Oh, we can. Oh shit, we actually can do that. Like, oh, we actually do have power. Oh wait, we actually can use our voice. Like, fuck what they say. Let's get it.
And you don't see the parallel?
It's hard for me to see the
So
parallel. My
so
brain can't really wrap itself around it.
everybody said, Elon, that is crazy. Why are you overpaying for Twitter, which is this is crazy. You're not going to make any money off of this. He still hasn't made any money off of it, right?
Mm.
But the purpose of him doing it was to liberate speech because all the platforms were controlled, and he released the files. He exposed that the FBI is and was basically
I'm listening
telling
to you. I'm just doing some more.
the software companies what to censor and what not to. And so one person liberated speech on the internet, essentially.
The United States Congress honored her as the first lady of civil rights and the mother of the freedom movement.
Did they honor her like the day she did that? No, they arrested her ass and fucking threw her in jail, and there was probably a whole trial and all this fucking shit, right? Years probably went by. Then they did that.
Yeah, I actually would like to know how old, like that whole thing. Like, okay, so that day came, right? That happened, and then like like what happened after that? That really set the tone. That's what I'm trying to look for.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why you keep looking on Google. Like this is like so grandma-ish now. It's like you have a question, you go to Chat GPT, you type in exactly what you just said to me, and it gives you the answer.
Right. Okay. So she rejected. I'm on old school Google. She rejected the bus driver's order to vacate a row of 4 seats. Right. In the colored section. White female passenger. Okay. Parks was not the first person to resist. Okay.
All right. So she wasn't even the first person.
Okay. So then Parks was not the first person to resist bus segregation, but the NAACP believed that she was the best candidate for seeing through a court challenge after her arrest for civil disobedience in violating Alabama segregation laws.
She's a woman,
and she helped inspire the Black community to boycott the Montgomery buses for over a year. So she basically was kind of like really like this huge activist within the community that she was like, no, look, we can fucking all get together on these buses and be like, no, right? So she started this like movement that was amazing, especially coming from a group of individuals who felt that they had no power, right? Completely, right? So that's fucking huge. The case became bogged down in the state courts, but the federal Montgomery bus lawsuit, Browder versus Gale, resulted in a November 1956 decision that bus segregation is unconstitutional. So then it went from okay, so that was just a year, yeah. So 1955, then 1956 is when the decision came.
Okay.
Now, was she in jail that whole time, or did she go to jail and get out? Like, what was that?
I don't know.
Dude, but I mean, she resisted racial segregation, like, and she like fought against that. I feel like that's just really big to me.
Wow, you still don't understand this yet, do you? I mean,
no, like, I do hear what you're saying, and I hear how you're trying to compare it.
He liberated millions of voices.
I gotta remove his name out of what you're saying.
Yeah, how about just use the platform Twitter? The platform Twitter liberated millions of voices, and it is now essentially the news platform where you can find the truth. And the reason, I was explaining this to your mom the other day, the reason why it's trusted so much is because you can post something on there, and then there's a thing called community notes, right? So anybody can post in community notes and say, this is not true because X, Y, and Z. Here's the link. This is why I believe this. And then that might not be true either. But then 5, 10, 20 other people can post their things, and then you can read through the thing and you can decide for yourself what you believe is true or not. That's how they do this. And that's why it's so trusted now.
Again, it's not like I don't understand what you're saying. I absolutely do. It's still
You want it to be like some like poor defenseless person that like made a stand and liberated a bunch of people, right? The unsuspected person that you would never think that could save millions of lives, right? I mean, to me, a billionaire, the richest person on earth, doesn't have to do shit. Doesn't have to do shit. He could be like every day, make a video, say, fuck everyone. I'm on my island that I bought. Fuck you. Buy my Teslas.
again,
Right?
I'm not
But he doesn't.
saying that I don't hear what you're saying and why you're comparing.
It's
the
hard.
two.
The emotional connection is hard.
It's the emotional connection. I think that's a great way to put it.
That's it.
It's a hard one for me to just go, Elon Musk is on the same level as Rosa Parks. It's really hard
because
for me.
Because he's
really
done so many other different things.
Not saying that I don't like Elon, but like just in general, it's hard for me to make those comparisons. It just doesn't make sense in my brain.
It's all relative. It's almost like saying like, all right, say like I don't know, a millionaire loses his job as a CEO, right? And he's had this job for 20 years or whatever, and he's built this life and he's got his mansion and, you know, his cars and his kids and stuff, right? He gets fired from that job. And then compare that to a guy that makes $40,000 a year. He saved up enough money to buy a house. He's got a couple kids. He's got the cars, but they're not as fancy. But it's the same emotional feeling to both of them when they lose their jobs, and the same stress and the same. It's like it's just relative, you know. So everybody sees Elon Musk as this billionaire. Oh, he doesn't fucking. He could do whatever he fucking wants, whatever. So you give him like less compassion and understanding and empathy, right? But he's still doing things that are actually good for humanity, I believe, right? And helping humanity. I mean, the guy's fucking digging tunnels from LA to fucking Vegas to shoot fucking Tesla cars down there. And he's making these Teslas become the taxis of the universe, where basically you can own a Tesla and then at night when you're sleeping, the thing can go out and fucking make you money. Have you heard about that one?
So I get like, and again, I hear you. I think what's not making sense to me is I feel like they're both big, you know, in terms of in terms of the domino effect, right? And what they're doing and it has done to the world. I see what you're saying. I think that they're on slightly different levels. Not that the intensities are different, just the level of it for me is like, okay, so Rosa Parks risked her life because let's not get it twisted. She could have easily died that day, right? Like someone could have some white person could have just shot her or just fucking or whatever the case was, and they probably would have gotten away with it.
You don't think there's a lot of people who want to kill Elon Musk that could have the capability that could do that?
I think it's a lot harder to get to Elon Musk than it would have been to Rosa Parks.
You don't think like he could have gotten his bank account shut down at any
Again,
point
I think it's a lot harder to get to someone like Elon Musk
but it's
versus
all relative though.
Dude, it's probably Jeff Bezos has like how many fucking like the guy is fucking tanked in terms of bodyguards, this, that, security, etc. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk has the same shit. Rosa Parks was a fucking regular average layperson in society just being like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Fuck you. I'm doing this for me, my kids, my family, my community, my everything. So if I have to die in this motherfucking bus, I'm dying in this motherfucking bus. That to me is wild. And back in those times, she easily could have died in that bus and the person could have gotten away with it. Done. Period. So yes, it's not that I don't think that people want to kill Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure that some people do, but guess what? I think the ability to get to Elon or Jeff Bezos or anyone like that versus fucking Rosa Parks back in 1955 are two totally different things.
Okay. And the risk though is this is similar, right? So it's like money is survival, right? So if you're risking getting all your money taken away from you, even if you're the richest man on earth, that's a pretty significant risk, right? Probably more of a risk than most people at his level would ever even think about taking. If you made $1 billion, would you, and you had an opportunity to potentially risk not having any money anymore and not having $1 billion anymore, would you even attempt to take it? No, because you worked so hard to get to that point where you got $1 billion. Why would you fucking risk it? You know, so it's all relative once again. And I just see Elon Musk as like what if Rosa Parks had $40 billion, $100 billion? Then what could she have done? Well, think about the impact that she would have fucking made if she had that money. And so that's where like Elon
Right,
Musk
but
is like,
realistically speaking, she wasn't going to have that money back in those times. It was 1955 for God's sakes.
whatever, fucking
No, but
$20 million
I
at
think
that
that the
time.
time is very important because she probably wasn't going to have $20 million back in those times. We're talking about like, do you know what time frame
I'm
we're
just
talking about
talking
here?
about the mentality of like, I believe if Elon Musk was a poor black woman, he would have done that too. But that's the most a poor black woman can do. And she took it to the highest extent possible for the amount of money she had, the amount
That
of
she could
willpower,
do. I see. No, no, no. I see where
the
I
you
see
know,
where you're going with this in terms of just what they they each as their own individual are doing something that's ultimately going to hopefully help a community of people in the world,
and it's risking
but
a lot for
they're
them.
they're because they're two different people coming from two different years, obviously two different generations or whatever, two different lives, cultures, societies, everything. um Elon's doing it the way that he knows best how to
Mm.
because he has the money to do so. Whereas Rosa Parks, you're saying, just did it really the way that she could due to her
So yeah,
circumstances that she
she did
had.
everything that
That
she
was all
could do.
she could do. And so for her, not getting off the bus was right. So okay, see, on to that degree, I see it. I'm still gonna say that Rosa Parks is like you can't fuck with
They're
Rosa
different
Parks.
situations, but I mean, we were talking about what's kind of like the equivalent. If you want to find one person that's made the biggest impact across the board, I mean, Elon Musk has got to be up there, right?
But not even in terms of like what, let's say, finding, like I was kind of thinking about it on a smaller level, like for me, in terms of like, have I done anything like that in my life that is to the degree of a Rosa Parks?
Well, if you did, then people would know about it and you'd be pretty famous,
Not
wouldn't you?
necessarily.
I mean, I
Like
guess
I could have
to
done
whatever.
the, I guess, my equivalent of that, right? Standing up for something that I didn't believe was right, which I have, and I've gotten fired. I guess that's, I guess, if I had to pick something.
It's like if you were listen, if you were really passionate about something and you didn't the equivalent here between Rosa Parks and Elon Musk is they are what's the word? Risk advert. Is that the word? The way to say it, or they basically like don't worry about the risk. They
That's
just
what
do what they
that's
fucking do, no
That's why
matter
I'm
what the
saying. That's
situation.
what I'm saying. That's why I said that Rosa Parks is fucking. That's why I said all those amazing things about her. Because again, when I look at that to that
Mm,
degree of not really even of even maybe even knowing what the risk is and how high level it is, but still saying fuck that,
mm.
I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't have anything in my life that I can honestly
Well, no,
say.
you did.
Well,
I
I
mean,
guess my
morally,
job.
when you
I
quit
guess for
that job,
me.
that director's job, yeah.
Well, I got fired because I refused to.
Oh, well, there you go. You stood up for what you believed in. That's
Yeah.
all we're talking about here, really. And
Right. So I guess
and
that would be the degree. Yeah.
it's just like how big of an impact did that make? I mean, on people. I mean,
I mean,
everybody has a moment like that
I
in
don't
their
know
in
if
their
it.
world.
I don't. It definitely. I'm not sure if it made an impact on anybody else moving forward. Right. But
Maybe it probably made an impact on
Again,
some of your
also,
patients.
I was in a situation. See, this is the thing: is that I still don't really consider it equivalent to that in my own life, and I think the reason why I don't is because of like I. So the first time, actually, two times they fired me. Actually, one was at a job in New York. I worked for this methadone clinic, which I'm completely against, but I had moved back home, so worked there, and I couldn't. My license did not transfer from Florida to New York, so I had to like not be a psychotherapist basically,
Mm.
which really drove me nuts, and I had to kind of like step down, you know. So I was working at this place. Come to find out, what I realized through my like just digging and kind of talking to people and stuff like that was they wanted me essentially to commit Medicaid fraud, and I was like, no.
These are the owners of the
Right. So
clinic.
they were telling me to do something with some patient's chart, and I was like, absolutely not. This sounds sketchy to me. This sounds like Medicaid fraud. And so I told them I wouldn't do it. The next day I was fired. Now, two reasons why I did that. One, because I'm not having my name be put on anything that can be anything such as fucking Medicaid fraud. Like, you want me to tarnish my name for your company? The answer is no, right? But I think why I felt so confident to do that is also because of my financial privilege with my family. So like I knew at that moment that I could stand up for myself and say, I'm not fucking doing this, with the risk that I would get fired, because I knew at the end of the day that I was still going to be okay. Like I had the conversation with my dad before I did that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, Dad, like I don't feel right about this, blah blah blah, the whole night. Like I'm not doing it. And he was like, mm-mm. You know, like absolutely not. He supported me, but I had his support. When I told the other job when I was a director, and some kid brought drugs into the community who's already been there before, jeopardized a bunch of other kids, got them high. And as the director, I was like, no, this kid needs to get kicked out and he cannot come back. When the owner stepped in and went against my decision, then him and I kind of butt heads after that because I didn't think that that was the right decision for the whole community. And then they fired me the next day. Right now, again, I did that and really kind of stood up for what I believed in that, and used my voice against that owner, right? About what I believed to be true, because I also knew in the back of my mind that I would be okay financially.
Right.
So
what's the point here?
So the point I'm trying to make in terms
Almost
of
Rosa Parks?
no, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't even feel that that's even the slightest bit equivalent to Rosa Parks, because again, I've never been in a situation where I have really stood up for something that I believe in, which I've done that, but knowing that I have I have nothing to back me up, knowing that I could be homeless on the streets, knowing that I could not fucking, have food to take care of my kids.
Well, once again,
knowing that I could, like, I've never been in that situation before. So for me, that's the only situation I have been. And I just find that even hard to say that's equivalent to a Rosa Parks, because we were in two totally different situations. Like I feel like I was in obviously a more privileged situation.
Basically, now we're just talking about things that we personally believe in, that we will push to the point of like risking something in our lives, right? Which you're risking your job, even though
right, but
you
I
still
did
had
that.
security. But hold on, but it's all, once again, going back to the word relative, it's all relative to each individual's situation, right? Like for you, that was like you refuse, or you have like, which is good in your situation, right? It's like what we all do is, as we grow in our, I don't know what it's called, but basically as we evolve to like different financial levels in our communities or whatever, it's like there you get to different levels and you're like, all right, I'm never going below that other level, right? But if you're already down here and you're like making $20,000 a year or whatever, then you don't have shit to lose. Like what's the worst case scenario? You're going to be fucking not being able to pay your rent. You already can't fucking pay your rent or whatever the fuck it is, right? So you're just like, fuck it at that point, you know? There's this guy named Gerald Salente. He always says, when you don't have anything to lose, you lose it. Like there's nothing that's going to stop you. You're just like, it's like you risk it because you got nothing to fucking risk. Right. So that's like, and I'm not trying to say like the bottom, like shitty. That's like at the bare minimum of like, what the fuck else I got? I might as well just make a stand for whatever I fucking believe in and go to jail or whatever, because it's probably better than the situation I'm in right now. Right. So that's that level. And then if you get up to a point where you like, get a decent job, you're making a little bit more money, you got like a house and a family and like, you have responsibilities and stuff. Then you're like, well, I can't go below that, and
But Rosa, but
I don't know her.
Right, like did Rosa Parks have a family?
I don't know, but I'm assuming if they were talking about the time where black women weren't allowed to be on the fucking bus at a certain seat, then I would assume it would have been very difficult for her to make money at that time, and she definitely probably wasn't well off, I would assume. But I don't know. Anyways, but you get my point, right? It's like it's like all relative to the individual, and in her eyes, it didn't matter. That's what she was doing. And she wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna get like fucking all these people behind me. She was just like, fuck this shit. I'm sick of this, And honestly, there's a lot of that shit going on right now. But it's like, it's not just one person saying it anymore, which is the reason why they need the FBI going into the media stations and telling them what to censor. Like, because it's more than just one person. It's more than one Rosa fucking Parks these days, So I think it's happening. It's happening at a mass scale. And we're going to start hearing more about it, I think. And you're going to start seeing a lot of these truths come out. And I think it's all a good thing. And I think the reason why people are fighting against it is because, humans are like scared of change, It's like they want the structure. And if anything's out of place and they don't want it to crumble, their lives to crumble. But maybe sometimes it's good to kind of flush away the old and bring in some new ideas and thoughts and change things up a little bit.
I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but the more that I'm reading about it, we just can't even fucking.
We're still on Rosa Parks.
Well, because no one can really compare at this point. I mean, the woman basically literally did it.
There's no comparison to Rosa Parks.
So much. I mean, then she was an activist for fucking anti-rape activists. Then she was this. Then it's like there's no like. I mean, we can't.
One last thing I want before we go, because we are going to try to make this a quick one tonight.
Yeah, we gotta get going.
But really shifting gears and going back to your whole planet thing and like learning that suns,
stars are suns, and they have their own solar systems.
Yeah. So,
which apparently, not to side note this, but apparently, because I told Joe, I was like, I'm gonna text my friends.
Well, apparently, a lot of people in your school had no idea of this, so I don't know what the fuck they were teaching.
I'm gonna text my best friends, and I'm gonna see.
They all went to the same charter.
We all went to the same boarding school. Okay, it was a college prep boarding school. We all went to the same one. We're in this text thing, and I'm like, you guys, did you guys know that the stars are like suns and they have their own solar system? And they're like, my cousin's like, I feel like maybe I knew that. I think I've heard of that. And then like my other best friend who I went to school with, she was like, I mean, I feel like now I know that, but like I just learned that like not too long ago. And I was like, okay, cool. Like but like all of us basically essentially really didn't fucking know that,
Like either they didn't have science class or you didn't go to science class.
And so Joe was like, what fucking school did you guys go to? And we're like, a college prep school.
What? College prep
boarding school where there was like 7 kids in a class.
Wow.
Anyway, go ahead.
So the other day I was bringing up, I was thinking like this, man, if you could really wrap your head around this, it could explode your brain, but you could also like it could be so far up that it might just go right over your head. So I just wanted to see what you thought about this. So Terrence Howard, brother found Terrence Howard, right? So I'm going to try to put this in such a simple way, but it could blow your mind, but it could go over your head.
Totally.
All right. So he discovered, well, first off, the planets are moving away from the sun
Mm-hmm.
at a very small, like millimeters per year, right?
What's
It's
millimeters per year?
very small amounts,
So like,
inches or something, like even
okay.
like, you're right. We'll just make larger. We'll say inches, right? So every year, the planets, all of them, they move further away from the sun,
Mm-hmm.
right? His theory is that there's a certain Goldilocks zone.
What's Goldilocks zone?
It's just a way of saying something, like a zone, like a distance away from the sun that is beneficial for human life. Like it caters to creating human life. Like it creates an environment that is beneficial.
So like, would Earth be in the Goldilocks zone?
Earth is in Goldilocks zone. Here we go.
Okay.
All right, you're following along here.
All
All right, so Earth is the only planet that is in that particular zone,
So
right?
we know that.
Well, it's the only one with human life.
That we know of right now.
We're talking about our solar system right now.
Our
Okay.
solar system.
I'm trying to simplify this.
Okay.
I mean, there could be trillions of other planets like ours, but we won't get into that, right?
Okay.
So his theory is that we're spinning, right?
Mm-hmm. The Earth.
The Earth is spinning around its own axis.
Mm-hmm.
It's also spinning around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you spin something, say you had a yo-yo, right?
Mm-hmm.
With a string all the way out, and you started spinning that around your head. That
Okay.
yo-yo at the end is feeling pressure,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the string is, if you let go of the string, it's going to go flying, right?
Right.
So there's pressure on the yo-yo, right? So that's essentially what the Earth and all the other planets are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, at certain distances from the sun, it's creating different types of pressure.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So you're with me?
No, I have to close my eyes because I'm visualizing it, and then that makes it better for me to focus.
Okay. So the Earth is in this particular area, which he thinks that pressure that is in this zone that we're in caters to life on Earth, right? On this particular planet. Now, he says that every planet in our solar system came from the sun originally. So every planet is a piece of the sun that broke off.
Okay.
Right? So the first, if we're looking at like the distance, right, would have been Pluto, would have been the very first planet that came out of the sun millions and zillions of years ago, however freaking long, right? And then slowly, inch by inch by inch by inch, every year it went out, and then a new planet popped out of the sun, and then that went out. And all these planets, when they got into that Goldilocks zone, they started creating human life or any kind of life, just life in general. So this is his theory, right? Are you with me? So every planet had life on it at one point when it was in that zone.
But we don't know this to be fact.
No, once again, this is a theory. Okay. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, right? So he thinks that, and he has done experiments and proven this, that their molecules, when you provide a certain frequency, they create different elements, right? That's all the differences in between all the elements. Now I won't get way into that, right? But what he did was he put, I think it was a hydrogen molecule in a simulator, which is a computer system that scientists use all the time to simulate theoretical things that they think could happen in the universe, right? Like the Big Bang Theory, all this other stuff, right? So what he did was he stuck this molecule at the exact center of where Saturn is, the distance from the sun, right? Now that molecule in the simulation, all he used was gravity, and it started spinning around the sun like Saturn does, in that exact spot, right? So he sped up the simulation millions and millions of years, and over the course of millions and millions of years, it created a planet. And it was the exact, see, this is where I'm probably going to lose you.
It's like anytime I open my eyes is when I start to like haze over and go blank and then stop listening.
So
the only time it makes sense is when my eyes are closed because I'm trying to see it in my mind.
So basically what he's saying is like the distance away from the sun creates pressure, and it's going to create certain things that happen to that planet in that particular spot.
Okay.
So he proved it by putting it in the simulation and creating it. It even created the rings around Saturn, and it even created the octagon on the top of Saturn. There's an octagon on the top of Saturn, right? So basically, he created. He knows how to create planets. He knows how planets were created, right? Anyways, there's that part of it, which
there's a whole other part of it.
Yeah. So maybe people who are listening.
Christ.
Hold on. This is the fun part, though. This one, that was the really scientific, and I'm glad you're so proud of you that you held in there. You did good. Okay.
I mean, I do have a question, but
okay. We'll get to it in a second.
If I ask it,
no, we'll get to it in a second, right? So there's that part of it, right?
Okay.
You know, that's really deep. Like it's all still kind of theoretical, but he proved it, right? But so now, think about this, right? So, if every planet was in that Goldilocks zone at one point, right? That means that, so I believe it goes Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, right? That's the lineup right now where it's at. So at some point in the not so distant past, Mars was in the Goldilocks zone, which means there could have been people on it, right?
Right, but then it went out of the Goldilocks zone, which means that what, all those people just died?
No. He explains this as well, right? So as it comes out, the only way to sustain life, if the pressure, because you're going away from the sun, so it's less pressure or more pressure, one or the other, less pressure.
Wait, I feel like you've told this to me already now that I'm thinking about it. Is this how then like we have like other either aliens or
yeah, we're getting to it, right? Okay. So think about this, right? So as you get out of the Goldilocks zone, the pressure is it gets either greater or lesser.
It has to get greater. No, it has to get greater then.
Why? Because you're further swinging it out.
I thought so, and I think because of that, and the pressure getting greater, and
so you have to go
everything, the body or our bodies essentially.
Well, yes, but in order for life to continue sustaining as it's going out, you'd have to go closer to the center of the planet to get to, so you're not exploding, basically, right?
Right.
So his theory is there could be underground like cities and stuff in Mars, and maybe not now, but maybe at some point, because they're kind of far away from the sun, that Goldilocks zone now. But so then what would happen if humans went underground for thousands or millions of years, generation, our skin might get pale because we're not getting sunlight, right? Our eyes would get bigger because that's what happens when it's dark and it's hard to see. So your eyes get bigger. If you've ever looked at nocturnal animals, like owls have huge eyes, right? And we would probably lose our hair because we don't need it anymore.
Why wouldn't we? Well, also, I would assume that we wouldn't be eating like what are we eating?
I mean, we're eating different things for sure, right? But we may, and then you think about how long generations and generations, like millions and millions of generations, they were living in the Goldilocks zone. Then it slowly came out, and then they went underground, generation, right? So they have so much fucking knowledge, but they're living underground. I don't know. Maybe they created spaceships and went to other planets, and maybe they still come here. I don't know. Anyways, it's a crazy theory.
Which is why aliens know how to even create those things to begin with,
because they're us.
Aliens are actually us.
Yes, they were in the Goldilocks zone. They were humans at one point. generations ago.
So then what you're telling me is that one day
We
we are
will
going to go through that.
I mean, we are moving away from the sun. That is a fact. We're talking millions of years, but yes. It's kind of interesting.
It actually is interesting. But it would make sense and
It
explain
explains
why it is.
aliens.
Because we met someone, not saying any names, but we met someone this weekend who actually saw
a spaceship
and an alien.
I don't know about the alien.
He just saw the
Spaceship, yeah.
Saw a spaceship.
But up close.
Up close, and it was in Puerto Rico, in an area in Puerto Rico where I guess it's a very common.
Yeah, there's like military bases around there.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing. And he saw the spaceship, and he said that he like just kind of like froze, right? And couldn't like move or anything, and couldn't really understand or process what the fuck was even going on in that moment. But he did say that when he looked at it, it wasn't like metal.
It was like skin.
It was like the texture of it looked like skin. Like it was like this interesting metal looking, but it was like the like skin. That's like just the only way that he could explain it. But we were like, what the fuck? And you know what's crazy is that now, first of all, he's the first and only person who I've ever spoken to who has told me that they've ever seen any kind of aliens UFO thing live in person besides watching a documentary on Netflix or something. So it's interesting because had I heard that story, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, I would still be like, believe it. But in the back of my mind, I'd be like, no, you know, like it can't be, right? But now that we know Congress is openly talking about fucking aliens and everything, then now I hear that story and I'm like, bitch, you fucking saw a spaceship? Like, wait, hold on. I can't, my brain can't, it's like, I know that now it does exist, but my brain still can't process that in real life. Like, it's like, it's one of those things that you can't wrap your head around until you actually see it.
Right.
But I mean, the only thing he told us was that he froze. He just remembers freezing and seeing this like amazing, like, metal.
He couldn't even describe the shape. He said it was like a cloud almost.
Yeah, he couldn't even describe. Like, it was interesting because he was trying to describe it to us, but you can tell he was like, it's so hard. But he did say that the material was like skin. I remember him saying that distinctly. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, would I be able to describe that to somebody else had I saw that? And I probably wouldn't either, right? We're seeing a fucking object that doesn't even like. I'd probably be like, what the fuck is this?
I think in our lifetime we're gonna see, like, legit see something. Like, I mean, people put out videos all the time. It's like way often now. I see it all the time.
I know. It's just hard to like now because of AI. I think too. It's hard to like know the ones that are real and the ones that aren't.
Right. Speaking of that, they said that this I forget his name, Mark Andes or something. He used to own like one of these like software companies or something. But anyways, he was talking about how he thinks in the near future, because of AI and because of all these like deep fakes, you're never going to know what's real. Like, this could be like in the next like year where it's already starting, right? That they're going to use, well, fuck, you don't know about blockchain, but blockchain is basically what Bitcoin uses to validate each transaction, and it's done through mining and blah, 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 blah. But it's a very secure way. Like, there's no hacking into it. It's like, if you put something in that ledger, it's in there, and that's what it is. So basically they would have to verify. So if like a congressman came out with like some statement or whatever, or if there was a bill or something, they would have to verify it through the blockchain. And then us as, you know, citizens can look on this blockchain and we can say, oh, that's that there's a signature on there. There's a digital signature from the original person. So that is legit. All this other shit is bullshit. Anyways, I know that was like, you don't understand anything I just said, but what I'm saying is they're coming up with a way, which is already technologically available right now, to validate
what's real and what's not.
Yes.
Okay. That's all you have to say.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, for everybody else that wants, you know, is like nerdy like me.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there is a way. Also, there's another company that actually monitors the people and the companies that monitor us. So like Google, you know how they're collecting our data and like all these like platforms and whatever. So there's a company that actually monitors those companies. So and they monitor the development of AI, and it's all like open source. So it's like it's being done in a very transparent way, and that is also going to be a truth telling outlet as well, depending on how they release that information or whatever. But that could be like maybe a site where you just go and upload a video and be like, is this real? And it'll tell you whether it's real or not.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nerdy shit today. Thanks for hanging in there with me, man. This is what I like to nerd out like this, and that's why I have the other podcast, but I appreciate it.
No problem.
Did the Terrence Howard thing kind of...
Well, you've already... I started kind of like remembering that you've told me this literally 5 times in the past before.
I don't think I've actually told you this.
Yes, you have.
I've told other people and you've been around.
No, you've told me when I really didn't care to listen, but I...
starting to make a little more sense.
I listened, but as you were talking, it clicked, and I was like, oh, something about aliens, that we morph into something, so the aliens is something, and then I remember that you have said this to me over 5 times.
It took this being here locked in, not being able to go on your phone, because normally she would just be like, yeah, Joe, click 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 and then hear nothing that I say, wasting my breath. But yes, here we are.
All right.
A good one. Yeah, it's time to go to bed.
So we are going to head out for the night. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, Sunday night.
I hope you guys all had a great weekend and back to the grind tomorrow.
Yeah, we can't wait, actually.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Have a great week. Get into it. Lean into it. Do it.
Yep, because we'll be taking breaks again in a couple weeks.
Oh, God, Christmas. That's right.
2 weeks with the kids out of school.
Oh, my gosh. That's right.
That's literally coming up in like 2 weeks.
I'm working all the way up until Christmas. No, I think we leave Christmas Eve. Fuck.
So 3 weeks. 3 weeks, max. 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks.
It's so frustrating, you guys. All right.
Yep.
Enjoy it.